get absorbed in, and you are sonic.
What's up, everybody? I'm Taylor Olmstead, and I want to welcome you to No Repeat, a podcast where we pick 3 songs every week with no repeats and no do-overs to create a perfect playlist for every occasion life throws at you. Joining me are my co-hosts Tyler Reed.
Do you believe in life after love?
And Sean Evans.
Some call me the gangster of love. That was Cher, right?
Yes.
No. Well, if the intros didn't give it away, this week on No Repeat, we are celebrating Cher-uary, our self-created holiday to celebrate the internationally acclaimed pop diva Cher. So the inspiration from this challenge came from Cher really having a good year this past year. She was honored at the Kennedy Center in December. She was in the new Mamma Mia. She released 2 albums of ABBA covers, and is now back out on tour at age 72, which is ridiculous. And so we were trying to think of artists that we could do a deep dive on here on the show, and realized that with the length of career and the multiple genres that she's worked in, Cher is kind of a great person for us to talk about, as well as somebody that, you know, we may not think about as being so essential to the history of pop music, but she's really kind of been there through it all. So I'm curious for you guys, do you remember your first exposure to Cher, or kind of how you learned who Cher was?
Cher was featured in several episodes of the cartoon Tiny Toons Adventures.
Really? I did not know this.
Yes.
Now that you say that, that's probably the first time.
I had no idea.
Yeah, she was in a few segments. It was when she had her really big, poofy, curly black hair. It was that look.
Wait, so she was in it like in live action, or was she doing voice acting? Or
it was a caricature of herself.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I did not know about this.
Did you ever watch Tiny Toons Adventures?
Not very much. I think I was a little too young for it.
Well, to be fair, that was an entire show that was based on getting real people to play themselves in cartoons, because it was very much a joke that was kind of in on itself about, you know, because it was filmed on the Warner Brothers lot, so there was a lot of people that they could just do. That's why they're allowed to get away with like Star Wars stuff, and like, you know, they had all sorts of celebrities in that show. Oh,
interesting. That's a pretty unique first exposure to Cher, but I guess like that's kind of the point. So Sean, other than the Tiny Toons, what about you? Where did you first encounter Cher?
Oh, I don't know. Probably just on popular radio. Like on one of those morning shows that we listen to in the car when we were going to school, being kids or something like that. That's probably it.
Any songs in particular, or?
The first one I can honestly remember is Believe. I don't really want to ruin anybody's pick, but no, that was like the first song that I honestly remember from Cher.
To be fair, that was like the first song like in our very short lifetime that, like, up until that point that had been like a new song, right?
Right, probably.
I think it was probably her first number 1 in our collective lifetime, for sure. I mean, Sean was probably like an infant when some of her popular late 80s stuff was kind of winding down, and he's the oldest out of us, so I don't think any of us really remember like the Heart of Stone era Cher, at least not from experience. But my uncle was and is a huge Cher fan, and so because of him, there was always kind of Cher around. Like, my mom had a Cher's Greatest Hits CD that I think he got her for Christmas one year that was like in her car a lot, and so I was exposed to a lot of Cher. But I think my earliest memories is probably like Sonny and Cher stuff being on oldies radio, because we listened to a lot of oldies in the car with my mom and dad, and so a lot of like The Beat Goes On and I've Got You Babe, and like the really early like 60s Sonny and Cher kind of folk rock stuff. But I remember just...
Speaking of Sonny and Cher, she was featured in a episode of Scooby-Doo.
That's right. I do remember that episode of Scooby-Doo specifically. That was one of the first celebrity crossover Scooby-Doos that I remember. That and the Batman and Robin one. But I remember when Believe came out, like I distinctly remember that song being on the radio everywhere, and just thinking it was so interesting, and it didn't sound like anything else that was really getting airplay at the time. And it's always kind of had a soft spot in my heart, because it was just like this song that was everywhere at this like really formative time for me, which I think is true for a lot of people. But then really after that, I mean, she had a couple more dance hits in the early 2000s and then did a big farewell tour and kind of went away for a long time. And I'm curious, have you guys like paid much attention or ever really gone back and done a deep dive on Cher before this? Because I know I personally hadn't. I was going back through a lot of Cher this week and realizing like I knew a lot of these songs, but I never like intentionally listened to them.
So I think around this time, because I remember when this song came out, when Believe came out, this was also around the time when I might have been introduced to DDR within the couple years surrounding that, and Heaven was a song that was on there, and
wait. Heaven by who?
Well, it's like a cover of it, I believe, but it's
Heaven by DJ Sammy.
So I remember this song came out, and it was around the same time probably Believe came out, which is very close to the same time when One More Time or Daft Punk's Discovery came out, and they all had like this very heavy autotune focus, and I was like, this sounds like video games, or it sounds like robots, and I'm like 8 to 12 somewhere in there. I'm like, this is great, I love this robot sound.
That is interesting, and of course we can't ignore it. Like, we're gonna talk about Believe later, but when we do, we're obviously gonna talk about why that is. But for me, like, Believe and Different Kind of Love Song were these kind of like outliers in the Cher catalog of that like auto-tuned dancey sound. And even now, going back to it and like looking back on my memories of it, it's a lot of her like earlier solo stuff right after Sonny and Cher that is like this stuff that's embedded in my brain. Things like Gypsies, Tramps, and Thieves and Half Breed and like that late 60s, early 70s stuff, and then skip straight to the 80s like soft rock Cher. And I kind of like, I don't know, I always treated the like contemporary dance music Cher as an anomaly, but coming back to some of that this week, I realized like it's really good dance music. Like, there's a lot of bad EDM, especially from the late 90s, and this all holds up pretty well.
I mean, I pretty much knew what my song was almost right out the gate, but I think after that I decided to actually look around instead of just sitting where I was. But I did start kind of at the top and just kind of let it play like the hits and just kind of let it just kind of go to wherever it was going to go. So like my experience wasn't necessarily album based, but it was just various songs, so I got a pretty good smattering of like all across like her repertoire.
What was your approach, Sean? Did you like go in chronological order, or what were you doing?
I kind of just looked for greatest hits because her discography is so big that like if I try to listen to everything, which would almost be impossible making the show once a week, I wouldn't have been able to do it. So I wanted to find a song that was appealing to me that I thought would work well with the playlist. Because this is the first time that we've actually done a deep dive on an artist, so I still think that we need to have, while we also pick songs that are great, I wanted to also have a song that went along with the playlist. So
yeah,
that was more of my methodology this week.
It is kind of difficult. Like, I was thinking more this time around about what you guys would pick, because on the one hand, I wanted to get a representative sample of all the different styles of Cher's music in this playlist, but at the same time, like you said, like it ultimately needs to be a song that appeals to me and that's gonna like fit in well with everything else that we've got going on. And that was really challenging because some of the stuff that I wanted to pick that I feel like maybe would have shown a different side of Cher than people are used to hearing, it just didn't really like gel well with everything else that's going on aesthetically with this show.
Right. I think this is like one of the first challenges that we've actually had in a while where we needed to actually decide the direction of what we were going to do. If we were going to do like, Cher, a retrospective, or if we were going to do like the playlist, and let's make sure that we're getting, good songs that people want to listen to.
All right, well then let's just do it. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first because I picked first.
Yeah, we decided this challenge, and before we even hung up the Skype call, Tyler picked his song. So of course you probably all know what it is, but go ahead and tell us, Tyler.
You're never gonna believe it. Cher, Believe.
Takes time to believe it, but after all is said and done, you're gonna be the lonely one. Oh, do you believe in life after love? I can feel something inside me say, I really don't think you're strong enough. No, do you believe in life after love?
Honestly, one of my favorite parts of this song is that little guitar bit where it's like, bow, 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 bow. Like,
oh, yeah.
I just love that so much.
So good.
I chose the song because I love autotune.
And she was doing it before it was even cool.
Right.
Dang.
And I feel like for me, I think this year is the part where I won't say that. I would say I've always tried to say, you know what, I like this thing. And I not really care so much what people think. But, I think this podcast in some way has broken down a barrier where the first song I had to pick was Dancing Queen. So we've already gotten, as embarrassing as it possibly could be. I don't know. It's just a good song. Obviously all the words she's saying is super, super fun. It's powerful. It's meaningful. And just that autotune just gets me. I don't know. It's just something about it. It's just, it was new tech and she knew how to use it right out the gate.
Yeah, it can't be stressed enough how important the autotune is in this song. This was basically the first commercial use of autotune in pop music, and it made the pop music of the 2000s possible. Like, you would not have T-Pain and Kanye West and James Blake without Cher's Believe. It just wouldn't happen. But then you add on top of that, like, this is an incredibly well-written pop song. It capitalizes on the house music trend of the time, but still over 20 years later, the production still feels fresh because they didn't go over the top with it. Like Sean was saying earlier, I love those little guitar touches, that kind of counter melody. It's a beautiful, like, grounding of what's otherwise a very synthy kind of synthetic song. The visuals of Cher are also super important, and I love this music video because it looks like a deleted scene from the first Matrix movie. Like, it's so...
Oh, absolutely.
There's like people in trench coats running down alleys in the rain, and there's a nightclub with like bizarre haircuts and white people with dreadlocks, and like there's just a lot going on, and in the middle of it is Cher just like obviously having a very good time.
But also looks the most normal out of everyone there, which you're wondering.
Which is not common for Cher.
Right.
Yeah, it's a wonderful video. It's a super catchy song. It's her biggest hit. It's one of the most popular songs of the 20th century. What a banger. Thanks for picking it, Tyler.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree. Also, on a side note that might be cut out of the show, do you need to believe in this song, Tyler? Has this helped you?
Well, as we kind of talked about a few weeks ago, when we talked about Love Struck songs, I do think this song is kind of in my repertoire of songs that make me feel, I think a lot of the times that I reference the way I listen to music is in the car, and it's usually very angry or just energetic or more anger, more like adrenaline based, but this I did listen to this song a few times over this week, and really belted it. No tears, but I felt it. Hell yeah,
that's good.
Feel empowered.
Yeah, I feel like this is one of those songs that anybody can get behind. Like, lyrically, there's no disliking this song.
Oh yeah, no, you're definitely right. Even if you're in love, you can still sing this song.
Hell yeah,
because you probably were not in love at some point, and you remember that. And you can have a life after that or whatever. So that's what makes this song so good. It's such a good song. Tonight.
It feels so weird to say this because I feel like this is like a song like in high school. If you said out loud that you like this song, someone would push you down.
I mean, that's what the show is about ultimately, right? It's like
pushing people down.
No, picking the best songs, regardless of whether or not they would have gotten us beaten up in high school.
Oh, okay.
I'm Taylor Olmstead, and I'm a digital marketer, podcast addict, and Apple fanboy.
I'm Emily Bamforth, and I'm a journalist with an affinity for rose gold hardware and a processor that supports me and my dreams.
Every Thursday, we recap all of the week's technology news in 10 minutes or less.
From Twitter's constant PR scandals
to the latest in smartphone hardware.
And whatever weird thing Papa Zuckerberg is doing.
It's called 10 Minute Tech Talk. You can find it on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and wherever else you download podcasts. Which is why we're going to go now to my pick. Because I think as far as songs that would have totally gotten you beat up in our high school in the late 2000s, this would be one of them. It's Cher's 1989 hit, If I Could Turn Back Time.
I didn't really mean to hurt you. I didn't want to see you go. I know I made you cry, but baby, if I could
So when Tyler immediately sniped Believe, I knew in my heart of hearts that my pick was going to be If I Could Turn Back Time. It's her second biggest hit after Believe. But I had a couple other things on the table, and we'll talk about them when we get into B-sides. And I went to my uncle, who is the family Cher expert, and I said, hey, I'm doing this podcast about Cher. Believe is already taken. What should I do? And he's like, well, you should probably pick If I Could Turn Back Time because it's a big hit and because of the controversy. And I was like, oh, I didn't know there was a controversy because I was born 4 years after this song came out. So it turns out, and we'll link in the show notes to the Wikipedia article about this because it's a really incredible story. Cher shot this music video on board the battleship USS Missouri. The premise of the music video is that she's performing a concert for a bunch of Navy sailors. So the Department of the Navy had granted permission for making this music video under the guise of recruitment budgets.
Wow. I will never be able to listen to this song differently after watching this.
And then the music video came out, and Cher is basically wearing bondage gear for the vast majority of this video. And at one point, she's straddling one of the cannons on the battleship. And it was a complete firestorm. The military was upset because they thought she was demeaning them. MTV banned the video and then later would only air it after 9 p.m. because they didn't want children to see it. It's truly amazing. And of course, as the years have gone on, this outfit has become one of the most memorable Cher looks, which is really kind of surprising because Cher has a lot of iconic costumes. My uncle sent me a photo this year while she's on tour at age 72. She is still singing this song in the outfit from this music video.
You're lying to me.
I'm dead serious. We will put an image in the show notes. It's truly incredible.
I need to see this right now, Taylor.
Wow.
I know.
I mean, I don't really have anything else to This is amazing. It doesn't stop. Cher as a brand is a global juggernaut.
Outside of the music video, If I Could Turn Back Time is just a fantastic pop song. It has that great scream along chorus that's perfect for karaoke. I think the soft rock beat is kind of a perfect Cher moment for the late 80s. It really kind of screams 1989 in a good way. And to be honest, it's just a well-written song. That chorus, If I Could Turn Back Time, if I could find a way. It's really catchy and it lodges in your brain. I totally love this song. The music video is a great piece of history. I had to pick it.
So I think all Cher songs probably are encapsulated in the time in which they were created. Currently, I do feel Believe, I think we've agreed, is a little more universal than the rest of her songs, but this song feels so indicative of late 80s, early 90s sound, which now makes it feel fresh again. You're like, oh, this is the exact sound I want. But this feels so out of vogue for so long. For maybe the entire early aughts, you could not get anyone probably to listen to the song on purpose. Someone our age, right?
Oh, definitely not.
Yeah. But it's the kind of the lo-fi tendencies of the 80s is kind of coming back. The synths, as we've discussed, love those synths. You just can't find those iconic sounds anymore. So I feel for the youths, I feel the song can and should and will probably make a comeback if it hasn't already.
And it's the voice, the costumes, the music, the controversy now that I'm cued in on, which makes this song so much more cool. And two, even when this was shot, it was still awesomely 80s hair metal, and in the video they have all the Marshall plexis in the back, so they're trying to do this little,
it's got some serious Van Halen vibes,
capturing the spirit. Yeah, and it's so cool. This is why I think I love this topic so much, is because, hopefully you'll see it from mine too, but she's been doing this for 6 decades.
She's the only artist to have a #1 hit in 6 consecutive decades. 60 years of #1 hits. It's incredible.
That's what I mean. How do you flatter somebody who's already at the top? Wow.
I was really surprised that you didn't pick If I Could Turn Back Time, Sean. Honestly, I figured it's the most metal Cher song. It seemed like it would be very you.
Well, I have my heart set on something else, another one of my pet passions.
Well, tell us about it. Let's get into this last pick.
So this week, for my Cher song, I chose Just Like Jesse James.
Baby, show me what that loaded gun is for. If you can give it, I can take it. 'Cause if this heart is gonna break, it's gonna take a lot to break it. 'Cause I know tonight somebody's gonna win the fight. So if you're so tough, come on and prove it. Your heart is down for the count, and you know you're gonna lose it. Tonight you're gonna go down in flames, just like Jesse James.
Okay, so the reason that I like this song is because it shows Cher's more folksy side, and it kind of is like a more modern version of what her different style, that she wasn't always kind of the video diva, that she did do like, more, she had like a kind of a country phase with a little bit of Cher twang going on. And I really respect that. And I think this is just a kind of a cool song. It's not as popular as the other ones, so I struggled to really say if I wanted to put this one on there, but it's just cool to see it.
I think the best part about this song is the video that you linked to it. It had a small monologue of her before it where she's like, I didn't like this song for a very long time. I still kind of don't like it, but I haven't played it in a while. So here I am. And you know what? There's probably a good reason why she probably didn't use it, because you're right. Because it doesn't feel like very, not necessarily off-brand, but it feels like a very different brand. It's not Mamma Mia, right? It's a...
Right.
It's a little more Dolly Parton.
Well, and what's weird about it is this is actually on the same album as my pick. These are both on Heart of Stone from 1989.
Yo.
Yeah, it was a...
Was this the track for a ballad?
Hold 1 second, please.
Is that a thing? Is that a meme? Track 4 ballad?
It's the track 2 ballad.
Oh, okay. Wow, put it kind of early.
The A side of that record is truly incredible. If I Could Turn Back Time, Just Like Jesse James, You Wouldn't Know Love, Heart of Stone, and Still in Love with You. Those are all great songs.
I mean, I'm in.
That's what I mean.
That's a vital item.
And this song had to compete right after If I Could Turn Back Time.
Yeah, so If I Could Turn Back Time was released as a single on June 1st. This was released as a single in October of the same year. Craziness.
And listening to this, it kind of gives me like almost like, oh, is this maybe some of the like Lady Gaga was like influenced by? Like, I don't know, it feels kind of like...
Yeah, this is very...
the other way around.
This is very Lady Gaga in A Star Is Born, if you've seen that.
Yeah, that's what I was feeling, yeah.
Both visually and musically.
Yeah.
This is one that I know I'd heard it before, but I don't think I'd really listened to it before it came up as Sean's pick. I love this song. It's like a really great, like you were saying, kind of like folk, almost country ballad. It's got that like storyline to it that a lot of those folk ballads have, which is kind of unique in her discography. You have a few like story ballads like Half Breed and Gypsies, Tramps, and Thieves, but they're really earlier on. To hear this kind of later on, like throwback to her original style is really cool. It's not like a belt out loud kind of Cher song, which is nice, but you still get a picture of like how impressive her vocal range is. She's in a lot of different places. She's moving around a lot.
Right.
It's a more reserved. It's almost like a buttoned up Cher.
Which that says a lot, because this isn't that reserved of a song.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
But for Cher, it's reserved.
Yeah, that's extremely true. No, this is a super fun song. I'm really glad that you picked this.
Because when I think about other like Memphis stars that would be singing something like this, like if Dolly Parton did a song like this, you'd be like, wow, Dolly's really like putting it out there.
Yeah, that's true.
Doing some epic vocals and stuff like that. But when Cher does it, it's like toned down Cher. This is Cher on about 7. So now it's time to share our notable B-sides. Does anybody have something they believe in?
Oh, I have.
I feel like the old man off the Muppets that sits up in the balcony.
I have a very different kind of love song for you here. No, but that is actually one of my B-sides. Different kind of love song. And then all of my other B-sides are... like I was talking about, some of the earlier Cher stuff that I feel like is important, but just didn't really fit the playlist. So, Dark Lady, Gypsies, Tramps, and Thieves, Half Breed, and then from the Sonny and Cher days, The Beat Goes On and I Got You, Babe. I almost picked I Got You, Babe,
Mm-hmm.
because it's a classic.
Oh, Dark Lady's so good. I was like, I love this fantasy metal Cher.
Yeah, Dark Lady is a little fantasy metal. That's a good point.
My B-sides, you guys already picked them, because I like what I know when it comes to Cher, but it was good listening to other things. Man, what else was a good Cher song? White Wedding, that was a good song by Cher. That was by Cher, right?
Oh, no.
Don't do this.
And then I think Can't Buy Me Love, that was another Cher song, right?
Don't do this.
I like...
I just putting it out there.
Sean says, I have 3 Cher songs that I like, and we've talked about all of them. To be fair, I also picked Dark Lady. I thought that was very good. I had never even heard that song before. Song for the Lonely is a great, dance track. I Found Someone, and the Shoop Shoop song, It's in His Kiss, which apparently is a cover, but I don't care, because that song's still good.
I think her cover is better than the original. Don't at me.
Yo, that's probably true.
All right, well, Tyler, if people believe in you, where can they reach out to you?
You would shoot me. Hey everybody, you can find my design and illustration work at rootpets.club, and you can find me in the socials as rootpetsclub on Instagram and Twitter.
Sean, where can people find you before you go down in flames?
Oh, if they want to find me, they can find me on Instagram and Twitter at TellySean.
And I can't help you turn back time, but I can show you some other good Cher songs if you tweet at me at TC Olmstead. If you like what we do here at No Repeat, we would love it if you followed us on Twitter. We keep up with our fans throughout the week on there, including talking about upcoming challenges. So make sure to follow us at No Repeat Pod, and we'll be back next week with 3 more songs on another episode of No Repeat.
Believe in life after love.